Imagine a world where the boundaries that divide us, race, religion, nationality, and wealth, no longer existed. A world where we could look at one another and see nothing but fellow human beings, deserving of the same respect, love, and peace. John Lennon, in his iconic Imagine speech, asked us to do just that, to imagine. But what made this speech so powerful? What made it resonate with millions of people around the world? Was it the simplicity of the message, or was it the way Lennon, a man who had witnessed both fame and turmoil, delivered it? Lennon wasn't just speaking to an audience in the moment. He was speaking to every single one of us across time. His words weren't just lyrics. They were a call to action. He wasn't asking for change to come overnight, nor was he suggesting that everything would suddenly be perfect. What he was asking, however, was that we imagine the possibility of a world where we could all live together in harmony. That simple act of imagining is what makes his message timeless. The power of Lennon's message lies not in its complexity, but in its universal appeal. No matter where you come from, what your background is, or what challenges you face, the idea of living in a world of peace and unity is something we can all relate to. It's a vision of a better world, one where we work together, not against each other, to overcome the struggles that have plagued humanity for centuries. And it's not just a dream. Lennon believed it could happen. He believed that change begins with the power of our minds, with our ability to imagine a different world. When Lennon spoke, he did so not as a celebrity, but as a human being who had seen both the dark side of fame and the hope that comes from standing up for what you believe in. He had experienced the pressures of the world, but instead of letting those pressures break him, he used his platform to speak truth to power. Imagine was his manifesto for a new kind of thinking, one where peace could replace war, love could replace hatred, and unity could replace division. As Lennon spoke those words, the simplicity of the idea struck a chord with so many people. It wasn't a call to revolution with weapons or protests. It was a call to revolution with our hearts and minds. The beauty of Lennon's message was that it was accessible to everyone. Whether you were rich or poor, young or old, from a different country or a different faith, you could grasp the essence of what he was saying. It was a universal plea for peace, and that universality is what gave it so much power. What's also remarkable about Lennon's speech is that it came during a time of great conflict. The Vietnam War was raging, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were high, and the world seemed to be on the brink of collapse. It was a time when many believed that peace was an impossible dream. But Lennon didn't give up on that dream. He stood in front of an audience and boldly told them that peace was not only possible, but it was something we could all work towards. The world was filled with chaos, but Lennon's message was one of hope. He wasn't telling people to ignore the problems of the world. Instead, he was challenging them to imagine a world where those problems didn't define us. He was telling us that we had the power to create a world that reflected the values of love, equality, and peace, rather than fear, hatred, and division. The emotional power of Lennon's message comes from the fact that it is both a dream and a challenge. It's easy to talk about a world without war or division when everything is going well. But Lennon wasn't speaking from a place of comfort. He was speaking from a place of experience. He had seen the ugliness of the world firsthand, but instead of being defeated by it, he chose to fight back with his words. Lennon understood that change doesn't come from big, grand gestures. It comes from the small, everyday actions that we take to make the world a better place. It's about how we treat one another, how we support each other, and how we choose to see the world. It's about imagining the possibility of a better future and then working towards it. When Lennon spoke those words, he did so with a quiet confidence, as though he knew something that the rest of the world needed to hear. And what was that something? It was the belief that peace was within reach, that love was stronger than hate, and that the human spirit had the power to rise above even the darkest of times. And that's why Imagine resonates with so many people. It's not just a song, it's a vision. It's a vision of what the world could look like if we were willing to let go of our prejudices and fears. It's a vision of a world where we could all live together in harmony, no matter our differences. And it's a vision that, despite the challenges we face, still feels possible. What makes Lennon's message so powerful is its ability to transcend time and place. Though he delivered it during the turbulence of the 1960s and 1970s, the message is just as relevant today. The world is still filled with division and conflict, and yet Lennon's words continue to remind us that peace is possible. His message isn't just for the past, it's for the present and the future. It's a message that calls us to action, urging us to imagine a world that is better than the one we currently live in. But perhaps the most powerful part of Lennon's message is the way it challenges us personally. It forces us to confront our own biases, to think about how we contribute to the divisions in the world. It asks us to reflect on how we see others, whether we are quick to judge or whether we choose to embrace differences with open arms. Lennon's words ask us to imagine what it would be like if we all treated one another with respect and kindness, no matter where we came from or what we believed. At its core, Lennon's imagined speech is a call for self-reflection. It asks each of us to look at ourselves and think about how we can contribute to creating a better world. It asks us to question our assumptions, to challenge the status quo, and to imagine what is possible when we put aside our differences and work together for the common good. The power of Lennon's speech lies in its simplicity and its universality. It speaks to everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from. It is a message that transcends time, place, and circumstance. And it's a message that continues to inspire, even decades after it was first delivered. Lennon's imagined speech isn't just a message for the past, it's a message for the future. It's a message that continues to challenge us to imagine a world that is more peaceful, more united, and more just. And it's a message that reminds us that no matter how divided the world may seem, there is always hope. Because when we imagine a better world, we take the first step toward creating it. As we continue to reflect on John Lennon's Imagine, it's clear that his words transcend the boundaries of time. Even decades later, his message remains relevant, urging us to reconsider how we view the world and one another. In a world filled with conflict, division, and uncertainty, Lennon's call for peace continues to inspire. But what makes Imagine more than just a catchy song? Why does it still resonate so deeply with people, regardless of background or circumstance? The magic of Lennon's message lies in its simplicity. He didn't ask for grand revolutions or drastic political shifts. He simply asked us to imagine. By focusing on the power of imagination, Lennon tapped into something universal. He recognized that change doesn't always have to come from physical action. It can come from within. It begins with a shift in mindset, a willingness to believe that a better world is possible. But what does that world look like? In Imagine, Lennon paints a picture of unity, where there are no countries, no possessions, and no need for greed or hunger. It's a utopian vision, yes, but it's not an impossible one. The beauty of Lennon's words is that they challenge us to consider what might happen if we let go of the things that divide us. What if we stopped seeing people as other and instead saw each individual as a fellow human being, worthy of love and respect? In today's world, where division often seems to be the norm, Lennon's vision of unity feels both radical and comforting. We live in a time of rising nationalism, deepening social divides, and growing wealth inequality. Yet, Lennon's message remains a call for peace and understanding in the face of all these challenges. It reminds us that, despite our differences, we all share one world, one life, and one common future. But imagine, just for a moment, the implications of living in a world without borders, where people are free to live and thrive without the constraints of nationality or race. Lennon wasn't just speaking to those in power. He was speaking to each and every one of us. His words encourage us to step outside of our immediate concerns and think beyond the present moment, to dream of a world where differences aren't seen as threats, but as opportunities for growth and understanding. The power of Imagine lies not just in its hopeful vision, but in the way it challenges us to act. While it begins with the imagination, it doesn't end there. Lennon knew that peace and unity can't simply be wished into existence. They must be fought for, day by day, by individuals willing to embrace love and empathy over hatred and fear. His words urge us to take responsibility for our own actions, to make choices that align with the values of peace and compassion. What Lennon did so masterfully was connect the idea of personal change with the larger vision of societal transformation. Imagine isn't just a song about wishing for a better world. It's about actively working toward it. Each time we choose kindness over judgment, unity over division, we take a small but powerful step toward making Lennon's vision a reality. It's a call for collective action, where everyone, regardless of their position, has a role to play in creating the world we want to see. As we think about Lennon's words in the context of today's global challenges, we are reminded of how much work still remains to be done. We still live in a world where poverty, war, and injustice are all too common. Yet, Lennon's words serve as a powerful reminder that change is possible if only we are willing to imagine it. In a world that often feels fragmented, his message is a call to come together and build a future founded on empathy, love, and mutual respect. What makes Lennon's Imagine speech so powerful is its invitation to dream, not just for the world of today, but for the world of tomorrow. It challenges us to envision a world where peace is the default, not the exception. It asks us to imagine a world where we no longer let differences divide us, but instead use them as a source of strength and understanding. It is a message that is as relevant now as it was when Lennon first delivered it, and it will continue to be relevant for generations to come. In the end, Imagine isn't just a song or a speech. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to see the world through a different lens, to imagine the possibilities rather than dwell on the limitations. Lennon's words push us to question the status quo, to reject the idea that conflict and division are inevitable, and to believe that a better world is possible if we are willing to work for it. His message is timeless because it taps into the deepest desires of the human heart, the desire for peace, unity, and love. So, the next time you hear Imagine, let it remind you of the power you have within you. You have the ability to change the world, to make a difference, no matter how small the action may seem. It all starts with imagination. It starts with believing that the world can be different, and then doing everything you can to make that vision a reality. And if you were moved by this video, let us know. Hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspirational content like this. Together, we can continue to imagine and create a better world for all.